Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everybody, whoever has joined us from whatever part of the world. We're going to start in maybe next 1 minute. We're just waiting for 1 or 2 minutes so that we have more participants, although we see they're joining in. I think your camera is off, your speakers are on mute because we have a speaker with us and she's going to talk about it. A different concept. I will tell you a little bit about that in a minute. Before that, the mute cameras, the mute audios and camera does not mean that you cannot participate. I would say rather, whatever questions you have, better you type it on the chat box. We have a Q&A session towards the end of the session. And have some patience. Listen, this is a little new concept, rather a very, very new concept for many of us. So we have with us, I would say, CARMEN SAUCIUC. CARMEN, I'm just trying to pronounce your name in a right manner. It's CARMEN SAUCIUC. This is how she pronounces her name. I am so proud to kind of introduce her to all of us. She is a creator of Feelfulness. I got a chance to interact with her and I was asking, what is this all about? I am listening to this word for the first time and got to know. She just gave me a brilliant analogy to draw the parallels. Like she said, Vinita, have you heard about mindfulness? I said, yes, I definitely have heard about it. I many times tried to practice it. She said, just like in mindfulness, you're very conscious about your thoughts and you stay in the present, that what you're doing, there's a new thing. And she's the one who's the founder of the concept, which is called Feelfulness, which is, I believe, more and more about your feeling. I would like to listen more about this from her. And she, as you see on the screen, she is a creator of this concept. She is a certified hypnotherapist. She is definitely an expert when it comes to healing. Definitely on fragmentation of the self-thought, layered integration. She follows certain well-renowned psychologists like Milton Erickson and all. I would say that's a brilliant thing. We would even I follow Milton Erickson. I have also deep interest in when it comes to psychology and human behavior. I love to decode it, but it's very difficult. It's not an easy one. 20 years of experience on consciousness-based system business transformation things, which is a brilliant thing. I am so happy to see that you're kind of marrying this odd concept to some business things as well. Which is a very nice thing to know. I would like to maybe listen more about that. And a structural intelligence into every layer of identity and therapeutic mastery. So it's a very, very impressive introduction, CARMEN. We would like to listen more about what do you do, how do you do. I see you are a neuro coach. If you can help people that how neuro-language helps in building connect or maybe understanding other person's need. I think all of us will be very thankful to you if we can understand a little more on that towards the end of the session. Just one thing before I hand it over to CARMEN, don't forget to type your questions on the chat. We will have a Q&A session. My fellow friend, we have Jairam on the call. We have my mentor, Dr. Sunil Prakash on the call. Towards the end of the session, I'm going to hand it over to Jairam for the question and answer. But hold on for that time and keep writing your questions. And I will hand it over to you, CARMEN. We would like to listen more from you rather than I talking. Yeah.
Right. Very well. Thank you, Dr. Vinita, for the introduction. Before I go into the neuro-language, I should say a little bit about the birth of Feelfulness. Feelfulness is a meta-conscious design in therapeutic methodologies. Why I named Feelfulness, and Feelfulness doesn't exist in dictionary just yet because I coined the term. In mindfulness, all of the gurus, they tell us to feel the feeling because there's the secret. And for the longest time, I'd agree with them. They like, yeah, that's the secret. I've been feeling the feeling, and I understand what you're doing. This is how you make things happen. But after a while, I realized they don't teach you how. They just say, do that. They didn't show you how. And I already knew how. So then I got a little bit, what's the word? Not upset, but it propelled me to name Feelfulness and create Feelfulness. I was already teaching it. So as I developed Feelfulness, this has been about 12 years by now, it developed into a system of therapeutic healing. It's not just a modality. And the reason that is not, confirm my language. Where is my language? English. Okay, English here. Okay. Why it is not just a modality? Because feelfulness works very deep at the heart of your identity, and I'm going to touch up on that, what identity is, at the very core of who you are. And in my world, if a therapeutic intervention doesn't arrive at the very core of who you are, at the self, which is the other way of saying identity, then in my world, that therapeutic intervention is not complete. Because when somebody comes to us, they want to make something better, anything that they portray or anything that we diagnose, actually it reflects a fracture of the identity. All of the hurts, all of the pains and the hurts and all kinds of traumas, whether just an insult, it fractures, whether big or small, our identity. So this is what feelfulness does in many, many layers. So now I will talk about the NEURO-LANGUAGE because it is the foundation of feelfulness. You cannot do feelfulness without NEURO-LANGUAGE, and you cannot do NEURO-LANGUAGE without metacognition. But today we will do NEURO-LANGUAGE. So NEURO-LANGUAGE in feelfulness is a structured emotional feeling language system that is made of word patterns that it's easy to call them word triangles. And why triangles is because we want to move from binary or polarity into a triangle, because that will create something I will present just in a little bit. Now, word triangles are not suggestions. They are structured, they are symbolic. It operates at identity level, not at behavior, not at beliefs or values, at behavior and experience, and it bypasses cognition, but involving cognition, it bypasses cognitive resistance. So NEURO-LANGUAGE is, in short, is not about installing ideas. It's about constructing a felt identity. Because all of the success that we have in life, it's felt. All of the hurt that we have in life, it's felt. And as human beings, we feel before we think. In a womb, we feel before we think, and it takes a while to develop the thinking. And even in a womb, scientists have shown us that the heart is what develops first before the brain. So that's not to say that the thoughts reside in the brain only, because they don't. There's a lot of thoughts that reside in the heart, and we call that feeling. Now, in feelfulness, feeling and emotions are two different things, and I will show you that. So let's go over what NEURO-LANGUAGE is. Comparing to the Ericksonian style of hypnosis language, which is an indirect suggestion or a metaphor or permissive phrasing, we have some of the examples are, as you sit there, you might begin to wonder how easily change can happen here. It's very permissive and very suggestive of bringing you together while it depotentiates you to some degree. Or you don't have to know, your unconscious can do it for you. Very simple, very permissive and stabilizing. Now, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming language, it centers on reprogramming beliefs and some of the values and some of the behavior through linguistic patterns. Example, when you think of that old problem, where in your body do you feel it? Right in this guidance, you already re-experience the problem. Or if you could rewind that memory and play it back in black and white, which takes out the emotional charge of it, if with circus music, what happens to that emotion? Again, you are re-experiencing that problem. And it disrupts limiting beliefs. That's the purpose. It hopes to disrupt limiting belief and encode new emotional responses. But does it really do it? And how long does it take to do it? Now, neuro-language in Feelfulness, it's a bottom-up symbolic framework. And why do I say bottom-up? In all of the therapeutic methodologies that we know for the past few hundred years, the way therapists are thought to do therapy, it's from top down. It's through the mind first. It is important, but what Jeff Zeig, the founder of Milton Erickson Institute, presented to us and highlights is that what needs to happen in healing is the bottom up. And if we are to think, thought, and feeling, we come to therapy because of feeling, not because of thoughts. Well, we might have ruminating thoughts, but it is the feeling that brings us to therapy or personal development. So here's a neuro-language example. That's a word triangle. And as I read those words, you will have an experience of those words individually and together. For example, certain, focus, capable. We can never have enough of it. Yeah? This is pretty simple, right? But the second one, rooted, clear, and steady. This gets you thinking a little bit. It's like, what do you mean by that? So I'm going to explain that later. But the purpose of neuro-language is to construct identity-level internal states, right? So what kind of identity-level internal states creates certain focus capable for you? We're going to say with a simple one. Immediately when I say certain, you might go, well, yeah, I'm certain of that, but I'm certain of that. That's binary. Or you say focus, well, I wish I could focus more. Yes, that's an experience. Or capable. I'm capable of this. Like, oh, Carmen, my arthritis hurts and, I'm not quite that capable. Hold your horses. Well, it's in English. Wait a minute, right? Because you are capable. So, but here's the big secret. Let me make this a bit larger. Okay, that's too large. So, through your ability to think and feel, you have control. Because every stimulus reaction makes a subconscious imprint. And unless this imprint is counteracted by a more dominant feeling, this imprint becomes the cause of your future action that creates your life experiences. It is in the feeling. Well, thoughts create feelings too, but we need to feel differently to attain what we want to attain. It's not just manifestation, because no, we don't even go there. So I keep saying identity level. Yeah. So what is identity? Well, identity is not a role, not a title, not a numerical identification, and not your name, not your gender, none of that. It's in fearfulness, internal configuration of thoughts, feelings, physiology, symbolic patterns that shape how you experience, how you act, and how you relate. So who are you at the core? Yeah. Fearfulness takes you there, right? And identity, it is felt, it is embodied, and it is transmitted. We might use different words for felt, embodied, and transmitted, but they will all convey the same meaning. And identity lives in your state of being. So my state of being right now is a presenter, teacher, transmitter. I'm feeling and embodying and all of this that I'm presenting to you, right? Your state of being right now is probably curiosity and listening, yeah? Now, identity is not fixed. It is constructed. And if we stay just only with constructed, you will realize that as you grow up, your identity constructs based on your path in life, what you do, your experience, what you've been taught, what you've been told, do this or not do that, this is good or this is not good, social hierarchy. So a lot of us understand identity as a social hierarchy. No, that's just social hierarchy. That's part of your identity, just a little bit, right? But identity is constructed, rehearsed, and stabilized through emotional feeling states, through internal narratives, and through symbolic structures. And I've just taken you through internal narrative and symbolic structure with those triangle, capable, certain, focus, right? You already had a narrative in it. Oh, you see capable, you focus, all of that. It is natural. It's a automatic mechanism we all have. But what we don't have yet is construction, rehearsal, stabilizing with this NEURO-LANGUAGE to recreate, upgrade a narrative and the structures. So fearfulness, it teaches you that you don't just discover your identity. You generate your identity at will. Who are you? This is who I want to be. I will become that. Because all of us have grown up with so much conditioning. And I'm not even gonna go into the cultural conditioning, which maybe we should do another session. Because there's a lot of cultural conditioning. I grew up in Romania, and you being in India, you know what I'm talking about, cultural conditioning, a social hierarchy, and you're good enough, you're not good, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, right? So, but then when you had enough of it, or when you want more, you think of who do you want to be? Well, I kind of know who I am actually outside of this conditioning. I will continue to respect all of that, but then I'm going to become who I want to be with or without or in between all of this cultural conditioning. Now, word triangles, the basis of NEURO-LANGUAGE, they are going to be rehearsed through thought feeling practices. You take a thought and you feeling and you practice. And that creates a state of being. So your identity, it's constructed through you begin to generate and construct your identity through this state of being. Thought feeling practices are not meditation, are not hypnosis. They are a complete experience that work at the very core of who you are. And with thought feeling practices, it will actually show you who you are, yeah? Who you probably forgot you are. So NEURO-LANGUAGE constructs, these word triangles are constructed by evocator, movers, descriptors, modifier. It's not as complicated. Not at all. I have a list of all of this. But you see, evocator, they stir emotional resonance. Movers, it gives you a direction and a momentum. And descriptors, modifier, gives you the how, the flavor, right? And create together, they create a neural symbolic structure that gets imprinted in your nervous system in the automatic habits, because who you are, automatic habits are part of who you are. And again, these are not affirmations and they're not suggestions. They are blueprints that shape your inner state. And this word triangles, the evocator, mover, descriptors, they're not haphazard. They're not just any words. They're very carefully crafted structures. And examples: trust, anchor, balance. You already had an experience. You had a narrative of what trust, anchor, balance is. Present, relax, solid. Now, that's a little bit, what do you mean solid? Because when I'm relaxing, what about solid? Right? Confidence, strength, and genuine, that's a bit more simple to understand right away. Now, word triangles are language construct. They replace negative states by default. There is no arguing in your narrative, in the back of your mind. There's no arguing with this, because they are constructed in such way to depotentiate and double bind all together, like that, 3 words. But the beauty of it, that for us therapists, we begin to use word triangles to diagnose and to prescribe. The very first diagnosis we will have with our client, it will be capable, certain, happy. The basis word triangle, everybody presents to us with something they're not quite capable, something they're not certain, and something they're not happy. But capable, certain, happy, if we keep on rehearsing that, you never run out of capable. There's always something to be capable of, especially technology. But even outside of technology, we always need to be capable of something. So in diagnosis, we identify the dynamics that influence the client's thought, emotions, and behavior, their subconscious processes and emotional triggers. Now, it's not just subconscious patterns, it is processes. This is much more important than patterns. Patterns are easy to identify. We have a whole manual of DSM, a whole long list of diagnoses. No, process is. How does the client processes their patterns and they're capable? Then in the prescription, we will empower the client to consciously choose their thought feelings that aligns with their goals. Because a client comes to us with a goal. They want to make something better. What do you want to make something better? This and that. Then here's the few word triangles that will help you achieve that. Then we have primary triangles and supportive triangles, visualization, transformation. But what I want to show you right here, is that on this side, I don't know if you can see my mouse, you don't see my mouse. On my left side of the screen, you have emotions as reactive, and on my right side of the screen, you have feelings, which are conscious in feelfulness. Again, emotions and feelfulness, not the same. Emotions are reactive, and there is a stimulus that triggers an emotion, and they're rather short, but they can be destructive, and usually they are. But as it goes through the neuroscience, certain parts of the brain, it has a minimal impact on the evolved part of the brain, right? On the intelligent part of the brain. It pretty much stays into the limbic part, into the animal side of the brain. All animals, they have a limbic system, right? So we have a limbic system, but animals might have some prefrontal cortex, but their evolved brain is not as evolved as in humans. So in feelings, in feelfulness, a feeling is an intention, a choice, up until it becomes a default. It should just bring it up just like that. So the way it travels through all of the parts of the brain, it bypasses the amygdala and hypothalamus, and it bypasses that. And it goes, eventually, it goes through the insula, which is interoceptive awareness. As opposed to when an emotion reaches the insula, it reaches it as a somatic registration. In feeling, insula is reached as an interoceptive awareness. You're aware of how you feel. But the main point of this neural science of the emotion of feeling is that an emotion, especially through the word triangles, it involves a larger part of the brain, involves the evolved part of the brain, but it will engage the default mode network and the salience network. So what is the default mode network? The default mode network is, so far we know to be in like 5 different areas of the brain. This is where your identity resides. This is where who you are resides. This is when you go into relaxation, it goes straight then into default mode network. And a lot of people are starting to talk a lot about default mode network, but I do not hear more than just the words. So the way to reach your default mode network in the brain, in addition to the salience network, salience values, what you like, what you don't like, is through feelfulness. What is identity? I promise you I would touch upon identity a little bit. So identity level in NEURO-LANGUAGE, again, it's a bottom-up symbolic network. Did I go over this? No. So let's go over the same triangles. So and the purpose of this word triangles, NEURO-LANGUAGE, is to construct identity level internal states. Now, mind you, you are going to be presented with a triangle and is going to evoke an internal state, and then are you going to have that state for a long time? No, you're not. You have to rehearse that, and thought feeling practices is what rehearses that. So let's look at certain focus capable because it's an easier one. Certain can be an evocator, a mover, and a descriptor. Focus and capable as same. Every word can be an evocator, mover, and a descriptor. What do you mean? What's certain or certainly? Right? Focus or focusing. Capable or capableness. Okay? Now let's look at this triangle, which is a bit, which one I said it was? Not this one. Do I have the solid one here? No, I don't have the solid one here. The rooted, clear, and steady. So as you hear rooted, clear, and steady, it evokes something. As rooted as an evocator evokes groundedness. As a mover anchors the movement of your awareness in your body. As a descriptor, it describes the quality of your inner strength and connection. And so does clear, and so does steady. Now, steady I'm going to present study again in a different format later. Study invites calm and rhythm, it stabilizes fluctuation and agitation, infuses the moment with balance and evenness. Gentle, curious present is a rather easy one. So, word triangle in practice. Earlier, I talked about one word triangle creating depotentiation and double bind. And depotentiation and double bind, they're not simple techniques to use with Ericksonian hypnosis. It takes quite a while to study and understand the depotentiation, more so the double bind, right? So let's look at security allow study. Now, before you go into a story, let's keep it simple, because simple goes a long way. And security, and when I would guide you as a client, security as in lock the door. It's like, oh, I know when I lock the door, yes, that is security. We keep it very simple, right? We're not talking about security to the airport. No, that's complicated. Not everybody flies. Not everybody gets to an airport, but everybody locks a door at some point in time, right? And then I say, allow. And I say, allow as in open the door. And here, there is a symbolic contradiction. Here's the depotentiation, the cognitive dissonance. Then the client says, but if I lock the door, why would I open it? Good job already. And then I go steady. Steady as in keep the door open. That third word, you see how it takes away the binary and it resolves the dissonance with the third position. And not as a return to safety by closing, but as a new truth. Oh, openness can be steady. I can hold this. Well, yes, stay open to a reception, right? And already the client was given security. They've received the security because they already experienced this. This is so familiar to lock the door. And then it's also familiar to allow the door as you open the door. And then steady, keep the door open. That happens a lot in daily life too. But the way this triangle, it puts together, the subconscious does not resist. It just goes a little bit, but if I lock the door, why would I open it? No, the subconscious will not resist because it was never attacked. You never re-experienced a problem. You are immediately solving a problem with security allow study. And this is how you restructure. This is how you repattern. Because as you go, just one word triangle, as you go through this is a felt experience. That's it. And this can be done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. All right. Now, other word triangles are appreciation, gratitude, graceful. This is what we all want to be. I hope everybody wants to be appreciative, grateful, and graceful, right? Present, commanding grace. Now, this is a very important state of being, especially to us therapists, because you want to command your presence, but you want to be graceful. And we have not been taught how to command our presence with grace. We have not. We have been told that's what you need to do. Do it. Otherwise, you get a bad grade. But nobody teaches you how to command your presence with grace. We are graceful as therapists, but sometimes we do not command our presence. And I'm not going to go very deep into this, but as an example, with this legacy metaphor example, the cracked mirror, everybody can have this presentation. This can be emailed to everybody should they choose to receive it. This legacy metaphor example, the cracked mirror, where where the individual has a mirror, they see themselves distorted, and then they pick up the mirror and the mirror falls, but not in anger, but it falls and it shatters in many, many pieces. And eventually you pick up the pieces and no, the metaphor doesn't even give you an idea of you putting the pieces back together. It just stays, you are being reflecting that there's many pieces that broke away. Yeah, and it's not bad because you want to break away all of the patterns. So it evokes an experience nonetheless. But the therapeutic limitations of this legacy cracked mirror script is that it does not have a structured depotentiation. It lacks a double bind resolution. It has an incomplete somatic integration, and the identity work is not there. It just remains externalized. And there's no oscillation between conscious and subconscious. Well, there might be a little bit if you do a guided meditation hypnosis with it. But the ending of it is cognitive, is not embodied, right? So what we do, we take the same script. It's a good script. It's very, it's a powerful script. What we do with that, we take that and we plug in NEURO-LANGUAGE. So what I've done, and this is in the book, what I've done, I plugged in a lot of NEURO-LANGUAGE, a lot of identity. It's packed, it's filled with identity level, because what I want you to do with this cracked mirror, with that shattered into pieces, I want you to bring it back into your identity, into who you are, but you don't know you are that, or you have a lot of doubts that you are capable of certain or focus or whole or wholesome, right? What that does, it provides an excellent use of structured depotentiation. And you will understand that when you have the handout and read through all of that. And it's highly effective use of Ericksonian permissiveness and depotentiation. It embodies the higher mind exercise, which is something that the book provides as a sandwiching pattern. Yeah, higher mind exercise has to do with metacognition, and metacognition weaved together with this NEURO-LANGUAGE word triangle. And it realizes a visual symbolic integration. It provides a mastery of nested binding patterns, and it's a somatic felt anchoring that is integrated effectively and identity precise. Now, this is marvelous. This is the evolution. Everybody talks about this, you do this, you do that. Well, show me how to do it. So I embarked in the research and study and putting the book together and the classes and the workshops to take you here, to bring you here. Now, once you learn to embed in your identity, it will be that easy to learn how to embed into the client's identity. This is not cognitive. And when we want to provide this for the clients, understanding that processes, it's top importance, but that is something difficult to do. When you begin to work with NEURO-LANGUAGE, when you understand NEURO-LANGUAGE, understanding clients' processes, it's right there by default. It's automatic. It's magic. This is the magic. And then I have a lot of word triangles here. I promised you at the beginning I will provide you with a list. It's not a complete list, but it's a good list. And we have example of stabilizing state, motivating growth, creativity and joy, healing, self-worth, leadership, vision, direction, and so on. So I am open for question. I am very proud to have presented this in this small amount of time. So let's hear your feedback and your question.
Yeah. So Carmen, this was really very comprehensive, very deep one, I believe. As concept, maybe this was a little new for me. I have some questions before I hand it over to Jairam to pick it up from the audience and ask. You were talking about feeling, and you said that this is not manifestation. Don't go to the manifestation side. So I was a little confused there, because most of the time what we have learned so far, be it Rhonda Bram's book, which talks about the power, the secret, that you manifest and
Yes,
you
you do.
feel, and you feel.
Yes, you do.
And
Yes.
then this happens. So that's one thing which I've studied so far, practiced so far. But when you said don't go to the manifestation, I had that question that, okay, fine, then where do I go, and what do I do with this?
Let me address that.
Yeah.
You are.
Second one is
Okay.
the second question is, you said that emotion is a reaction and feeling is something which is more you feel. In sequence wise, first you feel or first you react? First you react, then you feel. Is it a chicken versus egg story? Like, which one comes first? The reaction comes first, or you feel and then you react? Because feeling is faster than reaction, or reaction is first and then you feel. So I'm literally confused in this sequencing. So two questions from my side, and then I will hand it over to Jairam. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, I'm going to give you the short answer of emotion is reactive and it comes before the feeling in certain circumstances. But let me address manifestation. A lot of people are not familiar with manifestation. Your culture is manifestation. It's familiar with manifestation. So yes, please use feelfulness for the purpose of manifestation, but don't restrict it only to that. Because when you become who you want to be, you will attract that which is successful as you are. Or as a therapist, you will attract those who want to be that. And this is a big deal, right? So stay with manifestation, but that's not the primary purpose. Over here in United States and Romania and other countries too, people are beginning to understand meditation, are beginning to understand mindfulness, but they're very attracted to manifestation. Hang on a little bit up until you begin to practice what needs to go towards manifestation is a long road. So let's first learn how to meditate. Let's first how to do mindfulness. Let's just sit in a quiet, do many things. So yes, for the Indian cultures, for all of you that do mindfulness and healing practices, go ahead, do manifestation. Other people, if they haven't spent a lot of years on how to do that, not yet.
Got it. So fine. I think I'll hand it over to Jairam. Jairam, if you can ask questions, if you've picked up from what the audience had to ask. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Vinita, and thank you, Carmen. I think that was a very deep presentation. I think we just scratched the surface. We have a couple of questions from the audience. First one is from Ridhima. Good evening. As a keen researcher, can I please receive the contents of today's discussion, including the PDF discussed by the respected speaker?
Yes.
So Ridhima, yeah. So I think what she's asking is whether she can have further material from either today's presentation or either any reference website, etc., or books, etc., where she can go and do a deeper research.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Let me. I'm going to attach this presentation right here in the chat, and we can move forward with the next question. I am happy to provide this, and I am happy to hear that this is desired.
Sure. So, Ridhima, the answer is yes. You will be getting the PDF for the presentation, and Carmen will be providing further resources for your research.
I'm sorry. Repeat that question again.
What I understand is you will be providing today's presentation, the PDF for today's presentation, by email to whoever is requesting it.
Yes.
And you will be providing further resources, either website or whatever it is.
People. Yes, everybody will have links to my website, also to my book, and my book with list. It has a large amount of academic commentaries, and we are looking at Carl Jung work and how feelfulness expands that. We're looking at Milton Erickson and how feelfulness expands that. William James, Antonio Damasio. Antonio Damasio it's a well-known neuroscientist, which talks about the self, the conscious brain, and also David Hawkins and many others. So I spent a lot of years doing the research and bringing this into a language that people can understand and relate to, especially professionals.
Thank you, Carmen. I will go to the next question, which is from Cara Snow. The question is, have you experienced patients have other emotions come up with use of word triangles such as open/closed doors? Abused people could have reaction to either one. If so, what do you do in these cases? You want me to repeat the question? I'll repeat.
Yeah, if I was asked if I experience binary, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is very natural for us to experience binary and to dance in between. So what we do about it, we do word triangles. We take a third position, and if we don't know what's the open and close, we don't know what the third position is, then you can just think of direction and how. And then that immediately takes you out of binary. Open and close, like how open and close? And you've already gotten so many answers in the feeling before that comes out through words. Does it make sense?
Cara, I hope that makes sense. Yes. I think we're good to go. Yeah, I think Cara is saying okay. I have a couple of questions from my side.
Yeah.
Carmen, I would like to know what is the origin story for this particular modality? How did you arrive at this? Because I'm sure you've gone through multiple different learning pathways to meld different things to a cauldron and bring this forward. And second is, can you give us one case study so this will bring us to ground it to the particular client? You don't need to discuss the confidentialities. This came with this problem statement, and this is how this particular modality helped the client.
Okay, I'm going to talk about this one client, which I've a Romanian client, which now we're friends for life. She's done a lot of personal development. She already had a lot of classes. She hasn't finished the degree in psychology school just yet. It's just a matter of moving from Romania to United States and then see how you're going to finish the school. So she's well-versed in psychology and personal development, and the language which she portrayed to me, it was easy for me to understand that it's something she's done a lot of work. But there was something in her growing up in her past. There wasn't any abuse, any trauma, but there was neglect. There was a lot of neglect, responsibility, and neglect. And a lot of religious trauma. Well, yeah, there's a trauma, religious trauma. So when she was about 8 years old, her sister arrived. So back then, many years ago, in the 70s, parents need to go to school. There's no babysitting back then in Romania. And she was left to care for her sister. She was still a child. She needed to be cared for. Now, was it 24 hours a day? No, it wasn't. But that created a neglect. Neglect is a traumatic experience to some degree because it happens for a long time. It goes on for years and years. It's not just one time, right? But in addition to that, her mother was very so strong in her religion that if you do this, you don't go to hell. If you do this, then you go to hell. So it's a lot of heaven and hell in Romania, and it puts out such a pressure and shame and guilt and a lot of trauma that a lot of people don't need that. Some need to have that, to create a discipline, but kind-hearted people that are already disciplined, they don't need that. So that created a high degree of anxiety and a good amount of rejection towards, although she continued her religiosity, a lot of rejection. So what did I do? First, I went into alchemical regression, not just regression. In the regression, usually we just go look and see what happened, what patterns are there. Well, thank you very much. What do we do for that, right? So what I do, it's alchemical regression. And as we went through that, she's never had hypnosis, yeah, but she was very open to it. As we went through that, I invited the subconscious to cooperate to a degree to which the subconscious is comfortable to work it today, because we can always reveal more later. So you see the permissiveness, and I already depotentiated the subconscious to collaborate. So she ends up, well, I have the induction, and we ended up in nature, right? Nature is just powerful healing. So we ended up in nature, and eventually she begins to feel her hands were so heavy, felt like stones, and were pulsating. It's a very somatic experience. And there were a lot of stones and mountains in her experience, and a lot of walls. And as she reaches walls like in a castle, castle show up, that's hierarchy, right? Somebody's better than you. You're not the king or the queen, you're the princess or maybe the servant, right? So I had her take down the wall, and it wasn't necessarily easy. It's symbolic. Take down the wall, and the subconscious doesn't speak words, doesn't speak numbers, none of that. It speaks experience. And as I alchemize this regression, the subconscious releases that. All of the memories registered in the hippocampus, many memories, we rearrange that. Neuroscience is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So as she's experienced all of that, even the stones, I asked her to break the stones. Well, they wouldn't break right away. Break the stones turn it to sand. Send that sand somewhere. Break the walls up until you don't see it. Things like that. So we change what we see, what the subconscious sees. And if that feels good, you end up being a princess, go ahead, be a princess, be a king, because it feels good. It will register in the hippocampus, hypothalamus, in the insula, in the default mode network. Go ahead, be a princess, be a king in that moment. Because when we do regression, we bypass the critical. We bypass the conscious mind, which comes nearly, you know, but I don't, I have doubts, you don't know. Well, I do know, actually. So does that answer?
It does answer. I have a follow-up question. Can you define what is alchemical regression compared to standard regression?
Yes, in standard regression, we pretty much take the client into a mode to which the subconscious reveals patterns, and then you begin to see, and then once they see something, that they go on to the next something, and then just like dream analysis, we interpret to the best we can what that means, what the blockage is, and often for me, it's what they came. A lot of you will recognize a lot of the behavior patterns revealed in that, or a lot of identity fractures in their what they reveal, what they see, what they go through. So in this example of this client of mine, she allows me to talk about her. Name is Daisy. I have 100% freedom to talk about her case. Her identity was fractured, right? And as she experienced the walls of the castle hierarchy, as we took down the walls, we alchemized, we transformed. In addition, Carl Jung alchemy. Yeah. In addition to that, here I have word triangles capable of certain focus, happy. Of course you're capable. You certainly want to take the wall down. You're so okay. That's easy to do. Just put the finger down and take it. Aren't you happy? So all of this capable, certain, happy, it's going to be for the rest of your life. Whether you go for fearfulness or not, you will have capable, certain, happy. It's a very basic layer of identity. And it creates magic. And so with Daisy, I've done alchemical regression for about, 3 or 4. And towards the 4th one, there was a bit more alchemy to it. Then her mother was to come visit to the United States. Her brother here wanted to say, I don't want to stay with us. And she was like, oh, Mom is going to stay with me. So a lot of us have those experiences. What has happened when her mom came over here, same mom, the same judgmental, really very strict in her religion, causing, so projecting anxiety and shame and guilt in her children. What Daisy has done, her mother, of course, began to behave in the same religious judgment. She looked at her. Well, we've already done that, feeling love towards her mother. She felt the love and appreciation for the mother that she is and the best that she could do, and zero anxiety.
Wow, that's fantastic. Great.
It is. 4 or 5 sessions.
Yeah. Carmen, how did you, I was asking, what's the origin story of this particular modality? How did you come across this? I'm sure it's multiple years, multiple testing, experimentation with different clients, etc. So can you just give us a gist of how you came across this particular modality or created this modality?
Yes, and it's quite a story, but I will provide you with that PDF as well.
All right. Okay.
Because it's not in a book. I intentionally did not include that in a book, intentionally, because all the word triangles, they have an intention and a clear purpose. Fearfulness, how I became about it. Well, I grew up in Romania, communist times, and in identity, right there. In communism, there's a social hierarchy. You either have a status or you don't have a status, and you're small and not important. And I came to realize while developing fearfulness that I was never part of that. I always knew who I am. Right. I was affected, but not lightly affected. I didn't like it. So I had some reaction and some thoughts about it. In addition to that, there's a yelling happening. It's just, even in my family, so much yelling. Doesn't matter how good you do what you do. A lot of yelling just because people talk with loud voices. Even now, which is not necessarily yelling at you because you've done something wrong, but it's such an automatic process that somebody yells at you, oh, what did I do wrong? So this yelling affected me a little more, but again, affected me, but then I would return to my state of being, to my identity. And this is something I was not able to put it in words up until recently. So identity, right? I moved to the United States. Everything that I knew to be good, right, valuable, all of that, it didn't make sense anymore. 90% of what I didn't even speak English, so 90% of what I knew to be the good way, right, didn't apply. Talk about it. It wasn't an identity crisis, but it pushed me, and it was all subconscious because my focus was get a job, learn the English, go back to, it took me a while that I arrived to like, what am I good at? It wasn't like, who am I? It's like, what am I good at? I don't like it. I wanted to go back to Romania. I really, really don't like it. And I came here to family, to two of my brothers. Then I got to a point, it's like, what am I good at? Oh, school I'm good at. So then I went and took some classes, computer class. I aced it.
Which age was this?
It was many years ago.
No, which year was this? Was my question.
Okay, I moved to the United States in 1990. The revolution in the United States was in 1989, so I moved in 1990. So then I've been here in 1990. By the year 2000, I started meditating. But not in your typical, the way you meditate in India, you sit in a lotus and you have the mudras. No way, that's not going to happen, right? So I found sound meditation, binaural beat.
All right, yeah.
So I started meditating with that. Oh boy, and that showed me. And,
really? Okay.
Interesting that as I was meditating, see, with the sound meditation, my conscious mind was kept busy. It was doing something, while my subconscious mind was ready to explore. And I noticed myself go straight into healing modalities.
Right.
Never studied them. I went straight into healing modalities. Yeah.
The gamma brainwave.
Oh, a lot of gamma, but oh yeah, now I do gamma, but you don't meditate with gamma. Gamma you enjoy, and gamma you listen to as you do right now. Is you do a lot of work, but gamma, it's yum yum. Yeah. Feelfulness will take you into gamma. All of this neuro-language, when you become who you want to be, all of that identity, it creates certain new brain waves, and you want to stay in gamma, what otherwise we know as flow.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carmen, for that explanation. Just as a thing, can you recommend some binaural meditation for all our general audience so they can get a taste of it?
Feelfulness meditation? Sure, definitely. I have something in this. Let me look at the document. I have a link for you to join. I had a class with the. What is it? Here's the book. And I will, is this here? No, it wasn't. It's not here because it wasn't ready. I will also provide you with the additional link to access for free a class I had in NEURO-LANGUAGE where I've taken people through a experience. But you will get much more through the book. And let me add a discount code that I don't have right now in the PDF. Let me create a discount code. What happens with the book when you get the book? I mean, there is printed version, and then I have the ebook version. In my website, I added a good amount of practices, thought feeling practices, and we begin with metacognition, with allocating your attention point. It's a bit different than meditation. It's very different than mindfulness, because I'm asking you to actively use your conscious mind to allocate your attention point, and you just go, well, yeah, perfect. But then as you practice a little more, then maybe the second, I'm already taking you into the higher mind, which provides you with ownership. You begin to learn how owning your presence, right? Capable, certain, happy. You own your presence, and you begin to, well, you have to repeat that, command your present from this place. But when you begin to own your present, you already rebuild, construct. Not everybody needs to rebuild. Everybody needs to rebuild. But okay, you begin to construct your architecture of your identity to get to who do you want to be. Yep. To get to the point to where you have no needs. Food is food, water it's water, air it's air.
Yeah, that's definitely worth aiming for. Thank you, Carmen. I will now hand it over to Dr. Sunil, who will do the closing comments.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Sunil, can you come in?
Yeah, and thank you, Carmen, for such a nice new concept. I was not aware of it. I always thought about NLP, generally what we talk about, neuro-linguistic programming, and where, we touch upon a little basics about NLP in our hypnotherapy classes. This is totally a new concept that you have explored. Still, I'm just thinking, I've been listening to what you said. I still thought, that this program is more on the conscious part of it, Basically, trying to harness your conscious activities in terms of behavior, in terms of belief systems, and then in terms of your actions, So I would like to put the triangle of behavior, belief system, and finally the actions out of behavior and the belief system. We will like to, once we will have more of your PDF and we'll circulate, I'll further like to go through it and then try to have more knowledge on it. So I would again thank you on behalf of my colleagues and those who have joined. And definitely, I would like to know, are you coming for NGH conference?
Oh, which conference?
National Guild of Hypnosis in August.
Where?
That is in Boston.
I don't know. August is complicated.
Maybe you're not aware of it. Otherwise, I would have met and discussed further. But still, thank you very much for this beautiful presentation. And the questions and the audience that were there, they remained till the last, that shows the interest in the new subject that we had a chance to listen to you today and get a knowledge of it.
I'm honored. I would provide the PDF right here, but Zoom doesn't let me to attach documents. I try, but
no problem. You can send it to me on the WhatsApp and we'll circulate and put it right also. Yeah. So that people who have missed us due to some reason, we'll put this video also on the website so that they can also go through this new concept, and we'll give a good write-up there that this is a new concept. Please go through it. You'll be able to learn much more.
Yes. One thing I want to say before we end. Yes, this is consciousness. This is expand your consciousness. It's an accelerated evolution of consciousness.
Yeah.
For those who do consciousness, this is that you evolve it quickly. And it is in the consciousness you create a specific type of consciousness that takes you to construct your identity level. And not everybody can not everybody. I cannot use the word consciousness with everybody.
If everybody was able to do it, then where was the need for us as a therapist?
Yes. Yeah.
That's also.
Thank you. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity. I am honored, and I hope I provided a good amount of resources, good amount of knowledge, good amount of what's possible. And I look forward to hearing back from everybody. And after you get the PDF, after you get my story, after you get all of the other coupon for getting my book, because in India there is a whole lot of different level of income, and I'm considerate of that. And my book is it's big.
Wow. Okay.
But a lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people come back to me with wow, but they get a lot out of it.
When you come to India, definitely I know your knowledge base is going to expand a lot, because after every 100 to 200 kilometers, you find a new culture, a new language, and everything is new. But even in spite of the fact that it is all new and different, they understand each other very well.
Yes.
And that is where NLP comes in, Your body language is most important at that time, where you can easily express and communicate through the body language. You may not be fluent with the language they are speaking, but with your body language, it is more friendly,
Yes, because it's consciousness communicates, and it's a feelfulness. We communicate not in words and numbers all the time.
Correct. So
yeah.
As it is the NLP goes, that there is a verbal communication and there is a non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is more prominent than the verbal communication.
Mm-hmm.
Non-verbal goes to about, I think, 68%. And verbal communication is only 32%.
Yeah.
So that body communication is the most important part, through which in India, having at least, I think, 23 language, Jairam, what we have?
Yeah, we have approximately 22 to 23 languages. And in some of the languages, there are different dialects also. Each language, there are dialects.
And then different cultures. The moment after 200 kilometers, you will see a different dress sense, different food, different way of living, what not, it's totally a bouquet of flowers, I can say that, where most of the flowers of the nature you have put together in one place. This is what India is, So
I can understand that a little bit, because Romania has something similar, but it's not as big as India. And we have dialects, but we have only one language.
The color, the main important thing is that the vibrant colors that you see here is also part of it.
Yeah.
And including the noise from the traffic.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And,
thank you.
We really enjoyed it. I hope you also enjoyed our company.
I did. I did a lot. Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you again in the next meeting. Thanks.
So every meeting we have got different subjects. We'll send you the invite of each meeting whenever you want to join. Because on the last Saturday of every month, we have a meeting. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye.
Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.